In August, I discovered a new God tier series and ended up loving a book that I was absolutely convinced for the first 20% I was going to DNF. I started out the month with one of the best cozy romantic found family books I've ever read. I've already talked a ton about The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, so we are going to move on to the next book, The Wolf King by Lauren Paul Freeman. Oh my goodness. It is a phenomenal love triangle. I like love triangles, okay? Confession, I always have. I think they're fun because when the characters get together too fast and they get together in the first book and then their end game, it takes out so much of the tension. So, should you read The Wolf King? Absolutely. My virtual book club, Homebody Book Club, is reading it next month. You can check out my website for more information if you are interested. The Wolf King sent me into my wolf era. So I immediately started Direbound. For the first 20% of this book, I could not do it. The fact that the MMC calls the FMC kitten and he's not portrayed as like this awful guy. And I heard kitten like 5 times in the first few chapters of the book. The spice started immediately. I actually fast forwarded through a lot of it because it was maybe 4 scenes in book 1. The way that I feel for the broody MMC, that typically does not always happen to me in the first book. It takes me a second because they're always broody and cranky and grumpy in the first book. But by the end of it, the way I just wanted more of him. I hope the next book is dual POV. And that brings me to one of my most anticipated books with a 2026 release date. This is an arc. I actually had 2 arcs that I read then this month. The other one I cannot talk about until later this week, and I'm so excited to do so. Dawn of the North has already captivated me. I feel so immersed. The intricacy with which Demi Winters weaves together this epic, huge, high epic fantasy from so many different characters' point of views. Demi Winters will give us one character's narration of an event in their head and the assumptions they've made about another character's actions and why they did it. And then we'll get the other character's perception of that same event. And you start to see where the miscommunication might happen between these characters, or you start to see where some of the conflict arises. And I always think it takes a lot of foresight to be able to create such a narrative and to simultaneously remind readers that to some extent, all of the narrators are unreliable. I think that is one of the most valuable things about reading, because then we can apply that to our own lives and think of all of the ways that we are misinterpreting other people's actions. If you have read any of these books, I would love to hear your thoughts about them and let me know which books are on your TBR for September. I've got plenty.